Jennifer, just to start out, working with Ron Howard again. It was a very successful relationship last time, winning the Oscar. So what's it like to come back and work with him?
Ron's great. He's, he's a great director, and he's, it's no wonder that he's been as successful as he is. He's so talented, and he's so lovely to be around and spend time with. It's really a joy to work with him.
But in A Beautiful Mind, it was definitely a very dramatic, serious film. This one is the antithesis of that.
Sure.
Even though they're rather a serious subject, there's more of a comedy undertone.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
How is that relationship different?
Well, the relationship isn't different. My character was really different. It was fun for me. It was a very different kind of character for me. She's very easygoing. She's happy. She's fun. She's playful. That was refreshing for me to play someone like that. She's not complicated. She's not neurotic. She's not dark. So it was really nice for me to do something like that. But in a way, it was familiar working with him because, of course, he's still incredibly focused, and he's still that really actor-friendly director that he was working with him on a drama. He's the same way on a comedy.
Years ago, I remember doing an interview with Meryl Streep, and she talked about it's the hair that kind of starts her character. When she decides what her hair is going to be, it kind of helps her be guided towards the way her character is going to be structured. Mm-hmm. What starts that way for you, like with Beth? I mean, where did you start and how I want to construct who this woman is?
Started thinking about, just the story and what my job was in the story. So I think that, my role in the film is, this woman who is a really kind, grounded, honest, straightforward woman who is strong and who's self-contained, but who's warm and loving and giving and supportive. So, I thought about who she is and what would support that, and what is it that she feels, and so how does she move from there? And so that was really where we started, was just conceptually, and does the script reflect that, and how can we make sure that it really highlights those? And in a condensed, because it's supporting part, in a condensed amount of space, how do we tell the story of this woman and really showcase her personality? Because that's an important aspect of the film, I think, is that relationship, and to feel, I think it's a nice part of the film that you have this love story between the two of them that's, I think, really healthy.
Well, what I thought, what I really appreciated about your character is that she's such an incredible voice of reason, and there were two specific moments where she has this great rationale. One is when we kind of see them lying down together, and she's explaining about what she needs out of a relationship, and if it evolved somewhere, where it was going. And then in the kitchen sequence where she's talking about honesty and how she needs that out of a relationship.
Right.
That to me was an amazing essence of this character, was her rationale.
And those two scenes, it's funny, are both of those scenes, the way they're written, are almost transcripts of improvs that we did in the rehearsal period, where Vince and I, we were just sort of talking and playing through different versions of the scenes, and so they were rewritten, and that's what you see is the scripted versions of those improvs.
Let's talk about improv. That what you're working now with these co-stars who, on a dime can just go off and riff comedically. How interesting was that for you to be part of that structure, and do you think that it actually engaged your own comedic bone into going off in that direction?
Well, again, that's not it wasn't my place, so it would have been wrong for the movie had I tried to, I'm not supposed to do that. The movie doesn't want Beth to all of a sudden be that character. That's just sort of like the juxtaposition of the two characters in the relationship of I'm the straight man and he's, but it was certainly really fun to be part of it and to watch it. And some of it, you just, when Vince did those takes where he was just sort of improvising and riffing, some of that stuff was really very colorful and shocking and very funny.
But it's great watching your reaction, especially when he starts telling the stories of why he has the breakout and why he got into the fight. Mm-hmm. And you just know in her eyes that she knows he's not telling the truth.
Yeah, she really wants to believe he's telling the truth, but it becomes less and less plausible, that story, as he goes on,
How much of a hockey fan are you? I mean, there was a lot of sequences where you had to be out in the stands cheering.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun doing that, but I will be honest, I am not well informed about hockey. It's not something that I know a lot about. But it was certainly fun doing it, and it was certainly fun being in Chicago when the Blackhawks won, because it was just, I mean, this town was, out in the streets, horns honking, people screaming, and it was really nice to see.
Are you more adept at a sport? I mean, is there something that you kind of gravitate towards? Especially having kids, one presume you have to get down to the trenches every so often.
Well, we do a lot of skiing. I love to ski, and in the summertime we do a lot of. It's not really a sport, but we do a lot of backpacking together, and we play tennis.
Now, your character in the film is a chef, and I was
Yeah.
just wondering what your own Epicurean skills were like.
I do actually a lot of cooking. I would in no way call myself a chef. We entertain a lot. We have people come up, and I often find myself cooking for a lot of people. I've just tried to proceed with confidence, sort of, and so far no one's gotten ill and no one's complained. So people keep coming back. So so far so good, but no chef.
Let's talk about the concept of the film, the dilemma. I mean, it's something that whether you're in a marriage or not, or even with a friendship, everybody, what would you do in that situation? How did the theme facilitate itself to you and to other people on the set? Did it open up a dialogue, a discussion? Did it change what you might do?
It didn't, I think that it's about someone trying to find his way through it. And I think, in the film it's complicated. And as I think in real life, it would be it's a very complicated situation to try and navigate. So did I finish the movie having a clear-cut answer of what I would do not really. I think I think it is in nature, it's a horrible thing to have to try and.
If you saw your best friend in
through.
that situation, what do? Do you be the most honest person you can, or do you try and navigate the tricky waters?
I don't really know, but I do think ultimately my instinct, having never found myself in that situation, ultimately I would think that something like that with someone who is your closest friend, as is the example, in this case, they're best friends. They work together every day. They've known each other for years and years and years. That's a very big secret to hold, and I think you can see it just eats away at Ronny's character. So there's no way around it. It has to come out somehow.
Even when the speech that we see Vince give at your parents' anniversary party, where he drills the whole thing about honesty, honesty, it really is, that is the core of any relationship, isn't it? But how honest are we prepared to be?
Yeah, I think it's a really good thing to strive for, absolutely. I mean, I think, at the end of the day, I think if one keeps secrets, I think that's Beth's argument. And they have that scene where they're talking. She says, but it's not really the fact that you had this experience with Geneva, or it's not about the specifics of what it is. It's about the fact that if you have a secret and you're withholding something, then that gets in between our intimacy. It sort of shifts the power in a way, and it belittles who they are, and what their relationship is. And that's really what she has a problem with. She feels like, well, suddenly then we're not actually partners on equal footing. And I think that's pretty sound.
And just
pretty sound argument.
Last question for you, Jennifer. What was the moment for you where you couldn't keep a straight face on this movie? Was there a particular sequence where those guys, or the situation, you just lost it? Was it them dancing? Was it his speech?
The speech was pretty funny. I think what's in there was a lot of what is in there now. There's the aerobic stuff, and him being away on business in the garment center. That stuff was not in the script, and so that was a pretty interesting take. I think everyone found that amusing.
Well, Jennifer, as always, it's such a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Best
Lovely
of
to
luck.
see you.
Really enjoyed the film.